What's up, Lake Pro Tackle fam? On the phone again, just sent the camera into Sony to hopefully get that fixed. Today's video, we got Mooch minnows in the house from Crush City. These were designed and really thought through by Bass Pro Tour Pro and MLF angler Jacob Wheeler. We were lucky enough to talk to him at iCast, get some of his ideas and some of the strengths of this lure here. Of course, you can find a bunch of other information online. You know, people have done some reviews and all that. In this video here, I'm going to show you a bunch of different cool ways to rig these Mooch minnows. Now, you know, right off the bat, the Mooch minnow is going to be a very versatile bait. It comes in a pack of 6, and there's so many different things you can do with it. Now, this bait is going to be a TPE material, so it's going to be very stretchy, very durable, which might cause some issues later down the line when rigging. So I'm going to give you a bunch of rigging tips. I'm going to show you a bunch of different ways to rig it. So make sure to stay tuned. If you aren't following the social media, make sure to do that, Instagram and Facebook. And someone gave me this idea. I drink so much coffee. If any of you have a favorite coffee brand or K-Cup, you know, let me know down in the comments. This is just Folgers. This is what I drink on the day-to-day basis here at the shop. But if you have any ideas or suggestions, let me know in the comments. And if you do enjoy the video, leave a like on it and subscribe to the channel, y'all. So, you know, kicking it off, we're going to do the obvious ones real quick. Any of your skirted spinner baits, chatter baits, swim jigs, going to be excellent. One of my favorite ones to actually rig this up on that fits it extremely well is going to be the Mini Max. Now, the Mini Max is going to be a little bit more of a smaller profile. It's smaller than the jackhammer. It's got a smaller blade, and the hook is still super, super strong. So it's going to match up very, very well. When it comes to other baits, like the spinner baits, you have to have a small enough profile or trim your skirt down enough to where it's not hindering the action of the tail here. So something like this high pitcher, we've got some War Eagles in that really finesse size, and we also have a couple other ones that you can check out on the website. So chatterbait, spinnerbait, swim jig, those are the obvious ones. Now moving on to something like this. This is going to be an Underspin by Picasso. Now, I have found that any hook size between like 2 or 1 to 3 is going to be very appropriate for this. This is just a little double Underspin by Picasso. Uses a 2/0 hook, and this is a Gamakatsu hook with a 1/8 ounce head. Now, the 1/8 ounce head, you can go a little bit bigger, but I'm really focusing on that 2/0 hook. And with it being TPE, you got to make sure that you're actually rigging it on straight correctly. This bait here has 2 keepers. It's got the regular keeper, and it also has a little wire keeper. One tip when rigging TPE is, of course, measuring it out. You want to know where to pop out in the backside of this bait. And one of the biggest tips I can tell you, y'all, when you do this, I like to hold it just like so. I even will look straight down to make sure my hook is actually going straight into the bait, because that is one of the most important key factors here is rigging it up straight. I'm going to go straight down, pop directly out. And I had a couple of people ask me, you know, rigging TPE or, you know, whatever this stretchy material is very difficult sometimes to push it onto the keeper itself. So what I do is once I get it popped out in the back, I'm going to push it as far as I can, and then I'm going to grab the jig head pretty firmly, and I'm going to hold the top of the Mooch minnow or whatever material I'm using. You know, if it's a Z2 by Strike King or a Streaks, I take the nose of the bait, I pull it down and up, and you see that it just popped on. Again, you're going to hold it, pinch it, and you're going to pull down and up onto that bait. And right there, I mean, that thing's locked on. That's a money maker right there, especially for wintertime fishing. Likewise, just like that, the Okashira screw head is an amazing, amazing, you know, technique to put the Mooch minnow on. So when it comes to the Okashira screw head, it's a little bit different. It doesn't really have a keeper on it. It does have that little wire slash, I guess, fabric wrapping on there. Same thing. You're going to pull it up. One thing that you can do to this Mooch minnow is actually cut off the little extra kicker on the back, and it's going to allow this bait to really just be super ultra finesse. Now, moving through the water, the Mooch Minnow will wiggle just a little bit in the tail, but when you take that off, all it does is kind of twitch there. And that's one tip Jacob gave me at iCast. Now, of course, some of the more obvious ones, this is going to be a great Damiki bait, so your range roller heads. I have found using smaller jig heads with this really accentuates a lot of the natural action of the bait. When you want to get really specific with the actual strolling technique where this bait is really going back and forth, the range roller is a great option. We don't have them in stock right now, but the queen tackle roller head is awesome. These guys right here, the 3/16, it's going to get down extremely fast. This doesn't have a lot of drag, so this 3/16 to 1/4 ounce is going to be perfectly fine for just about any water you're in. I think if you're in anywhere from, 5 to 15, I personally would go with an 1/8 because it's still going to fall extremely quick. The bait's very streamlined. And the range roller here has that same design where it's got the regular lead keeper and then also a wire keeper. So you're going to do that same technique, grab the chin, pull it down and up. So that one's a pretty obvious one. Another great way that Jacob suggested this bait be used for, since it is a more buoyant material, like little to no salt in it, but still has a great smell and scent, is a Ned Rig. So Finesse Shrooms by Z-Man. There's so many great Ned Rigs out there on the market. I do love the weedless ones. A lot of the time, I actually get rid of one of the keepers, and I just snip it off and just use one to remain pretty weedless, especially in a lot of the rocks that I like to fish. If you're fishing sandy bottom or a shell bed, it's going to be perfect. You can even take it off if you are fishing areas without a lot of cover. So this on a Ned Rig, I mean, it's just going to kind of sit there. Again, you can take the little kickers off the top and the bottom, and it's going to minimize a little bit more of the action. But I always like just a little bit secondary action on my Ned Rigs. This thing will fall, sit just like that. That tail's going to quiver just a little bit. So that's a super great way of doing it. Next up, Finesse Wobble Heads. This is a wintertime staple for Tim. And this is one technique that does not get thrown a lot. When it comes to wintertime cranking, it can be extremely, extremely effective at getting those reaction bites. But these fish have seen crankbaits from spring, summer, fall. They don't get a break. And when you bring out a Finesse Wobble Head, I'm talking like 1/4 ounce to like a 3/16 ounce with a little 1/0 haymaker or Pro X hook or really your favorite EWG hook out there, this is going to be a killer way to do it. We have the tungsten Ryugi wobble heads here. These are the Gen 2s. We also have decoy switch heads, which you can reverse to make it more of a football head and then switch it the other way to make it more of a sled head. Both of these are amazing, amazing options. We have a couple more tungsten ones from like Gamakatsu and Strike King, so you can check those out as well. These are going to be our recommendations starting off, especially in the finesse category of wobble heads. So that's going to look super awesome. Again, if you want to minimize some of the action, cut the little flipper off, but this thing is going to go crazy down there. It looked like a little dying bait fish depending on how fast you're reeling it, but realistically, you're going for a reaction bite. I love this white color. We have electric shad, Tennessee shad, regular shad, sexy shad. We've got a bunch of the shad patterns, so you can check those all out. Another one that kind of goes hand in hand with the wobble heading is going to be the drop shot. Now you can drop shot it traditionally, throw it into cover like a brush pile, let it sit there, and this bait's going to have a nice quivering action. You can also reel this in very, very slowly on that drop shot, almost moving it like a swim bait. Keep that little tail kicker on. It's just going to slowly go across the bottom a little bit suspended, which is a little bit different than just about anyone else is doing. Trust me, they're not throwing a minnow at the speed, especially having it sit right above the bottom. But those are kind of all the ways that I would typically rig this. If you have any other ideas, you want to share some ideas, leave them down in the comments as well. Give me some coffee suggestions, or if you want to send me some coffee, we've got our address down on the website there, so you can check it out. But I appreciate everyone that's placed orders. I do want to mention, got a restock of DRT K9s. We've got this guy here in Nagoya, what is it? Nagoya trout. We also have Spectre, which is a really hard to find color. You're not going to see a lot of these on the market, so they are going very quick. I did a very silent upload up on the website. These got put in, sold a bunch of them already. We have a few left. We also have some TKs if you're looking for little stocking stuffers. We've got the same rainbow right here, Nagoya Rainbow, as well as Magic Trout, and I think we're actually already out of DRT bass. So we got a restock on these amazing colors. You can check them out online at lakeprotackle.com. Hopefully I'm uploading this Monday, so if you are watching Monday, thank you so much for tuning into all these videos. And if you haven't already, check out the 12 Days of Christmas music video. Spent a lot of time on that one day, and I hope y'all enjoy it. So guys, check out the DRT stuff, check out the Mooch Minnows, and we'll see you next time at Lake Pro Tackle. Thanks for watching, guys. See you.